Hey guys, today we are looking at a pretty unusual hand grenade. This is the precursor to the German potato masher grenade, which everyone seems to know and is pretty iconic from both World War I and World War II. This is a model 1915, and I know I'm going to mess this up, but it's a Kugelhandgranate. So it was a big, heavy grenade that was mostly used initially by pioneer battalions, and those would be the guys who were taking out fortifications before the infantry. And it's, like I said, it's really heavy. Fully loaded, this guy would weigh about 2.2 pounds or 1 kilo, and a trained soldier could throw this only about 15 meters. And it just was pretty unwieldy and really didn't have a place that you could sort of attach it to your equipment. So you just kind of had to maybe carry them in a pouch or something like that. And that would definitely be quite the load to be packing along when you're running along through a trench or whatnot. This is actually a simplified version of an earlier design. In 1913, there were ones made that actually had sort of a familiar pattern for fragmentation that look a lot like US fragmentation grenades, which a lot of people are familiar with. This belted pattern here is a cast iron body, and it's a little more simplified just for mass production. And really the only markings that are discernible on this grenade are some manufacturer markings on the bottom here, which really don't seem to make a lot of sense, but probably just the manufacturer who actually did the casting for this. So, I mean, just holding this is a really, really awkward grenade. I mean, it feels good in the hand to throw, but certainly not like a potato masher or a US fragmentation grenade, or indeed even like a Mills bomb or something like that. So the filling on these was 70% black powder, and then potassium perchlorate, and I believe something else which actually is escaping me at the time. They just had a lot of room for improvement, and the Germans knew this, so they again worked on the stick grenade pretty quick. By 1915 and 1916, certainly, they had stick grenades in mass production and were getting them out to the soldiers. This one has got the fuse here, which is right here, and the way you actuate this is you pull this wire out with your hand or your fingers, and you pull it out, and you've got about 5 seconds to dispose of this guy and get it gone. And I can just imagine when it hit, it would do a lot of rolling and maybe not exactly stay where you wanted it to be. And just one word about the construction of this grenade. Since it's made with really heavy cast iron, this would definitely be called what's called an offensive grenade. I'm sorry, a defensive grenade. In that it relies on a lot of its force and a lot of its casualty-inducing potential from the fragmentation of this casing when it explodes. It'll throw fragments all over the place and would actually be pretty good for use in no man's land, where you had a lot of open area and you wanted to throw a lot of fragments everywhere. Whereas something like a potato masher generally would be issued with a very thin steel head, and that didn't produce a lot of lethal fragments like this guy did. So a potato masher would explode, and a lot of its force would be from just the actual blast of the explosive inside it. Whereas this one, you've got the explosive, plus you've got the just all the fragments that this is going to make. I can just imagine the shrapnel that would come off of this thing. So it's a pretty interesting grenade. Not a lot seem to have survived. Not a lot floating around. You do see them in relic condition here and there, but this is a very nice example of one. And just thought I'd show it to you guys, and maybe something you're not familiar with, and move on to something more like potato masher in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you like what you're seeing, like and subscribe, and we'll be doing more. Thanks a lot.